Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to firstly acknowledge the Gadigal people, the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, and the First Nations people of the Myall Lakes electorate, the Worimi and Biripi people, and pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Mr. Speaker, as I stand here this afternoon, proud and full of nervous energy, I'm reminded of a cherished childhood memory. I recall a time when my youthful spirit, combined with an unyielding determination, which now translates to sheer stubbornness, led me to conquer this one particular hill near my family home on my bicycle. With the wind in my hair and the exhilaration of the downhill ride, and the need to be PC in this place, Mum, how would we put this? My well-nourished body would pedal fiercely, and even as my chubby ankles would clip the sides of the pedals and blood would be pouring down my feet, nothing could break my unwavering spirit to get to the top of that hill. And my mum is nodding here, she understands. That spirit is what has led me here today, ready to embark on this journey, humbled and privileged to be elected as the youngest and the first female representative of the Myall Lakes on behalf of the National Party. Yeah. A party that has long been and will always continue to be the strongest voice for rural, regional and coastal communities. Yeah. Only 2 others have held this seat before me. Excuse me. John Turner, who gave 23 years of service to the people of the Myall Lakes, and the late Stephen Bromhead, who sadly passed away on the 16th of March. Stephen was an amazing local member. He was a dear friend and mentor, not only to me, but to many, and he served his community selflessly for 12 years. His tenacity and unwavering determination to making a difference in the lives of those around him is truly inspiring. It is an honour to follow in his footsteps, and I will work tirelessly, just as he had, towards a better future for the Myall Lakes community and greater electorate. There are so many people that have contributed so much of themselves to help me on this incredible journey. To try and name them all would simply be too impossible a task for the risk of missing someone. So to every single volunteer and supporter that stood for hours on end, day after day for pre-poll and polling day, those that put up call flutes, handed out brochures, door knocked, attended forums in support, packed booth kits, put up booth kits on polling day, and so much more, thank you just doesn't seem to cover the immense gratitude that I feel. I acknowledge and thank the entire Nats family, Joe Lundy, Andrew Fraser, Wendy Machin, Tori, Franny, Nick, Brooke Cosmo, the whole head office crew. Oh, hi Fran, sorry. There were times when this was not an easy campaign, particularly towards the tail end. And I'm so grateful for the way you all wrapped around me to support me when it was truly needed the most. I am so very proud to be a member and representative of the New South Wales National Party. To all the ministers, the MPs and MLCs that travelled to the Myall Lakes throughout my campaign, thank you for your guidance, for your advice and for your support. And I would like to give a special shout out to Mr. Scott Barrett. Scott, to me, you are the epitome of a true National Party person. Your commitment to the party and to this election campaign cannot be matched. You travelled all over the countryside in support of your peers, and I thank you for teaching me how to gate crash a CWA meeting and how to distinguish different types of cows simply by gazing at their rear ends. He does it well. To my family, my daughters Bianca and Lucy, and my stepdaughter Asha, who are here today, thank you for coming on this crazy roller coaster ride with me. I am so incredibly proud to be your mum. To my husband Ben, from the first day I came home to tell you the plan, you have been the most amazing support. My rock of Gibraltar, you continue to believe in me with every single step I take. Thank you for your dedication to core flute placement, giving up your weekends for market stalls, securing the best spot to hand out at pre-poll and stubbornly never moving from that, for dancing in the rain, listening to all of my speeches, and for keeping the lights on while I quit my day job to be a candidate. This just wouldn't work without you. Thank you. To those that can't be here today, my sister Kylie and brother-in-law John, my nephew and niece Frankie and Deanna, to James and Sarah and family, thank you all for your love and support. And my work family, Sasha, Jenny, Nikki and Gary, thank you. I'd like now to acknowledge my amazing parents. My mum Julie, who's wiping her tears away, I can see up there. Hold it together, Mum. Mum's travelled a long way to be here today. And my dad Mick, who I know is watching from home because unfortunately he's not well enough to be here today. Thank you for the lifetime of unconditional support. You have taught me resilience, to be independent, and that hard work and respect for others will take you far in life. You are both my greatest inspiration. Like others that have delivered their maiden speeches before me, I too have a unique story to tell. Born in Tenterfield, the middle child of a brickie and a nurse, my mum and dad packed us up when I was still a baby and we moved to Port Macquarie to give us a coastal life. I watched my parents work incredibly hard to make sure that we didn't want for anything. Weekends were for sport, household chores, and a sneaky hour or two watching Rage on the TV in the morning with my sister. I absolutely loved school, with the exception of maths homework, which we won't talk about, will we, Mum? No, sorry. And I was never far away from a stage, a microphone, or a basketball court. At 13, I got my first gig at a local fish and chip shop called Macquarie Seafoods. My sister Kylie had recently started working there, and I was watching her wardrobe expand and her CD collection grow, and I decided one Friday night to accompany my mum on the trip into town to pick her up from work. And it was there that I had my first job interview, decked out in my finest pyjamas. And the interview went a little something like this. I hear you're looking for a job, yeah? Do you have white sneakers? Yep. Do you have white shorts? Mum, do I? Yes, yep. Fantastic. Learn this menu. You can start tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. And I went home that night, and I think I pulled an all-nighter because I learnt that entire menu front and back and fronted up full of enthusiasm, ready to start adding to my own wardrobe and music collection, and I absolutely loved it. I continued to work for John right up until I finished my HSC, and I might add that I'm also very blessed to have John as my brother-in-law, and I thank him not only for the many ways he has supported me throughout my life, but for teaching me to always give 110% in your work, regardless of what that job may be. When I was 19, John and Kylie called to let me know they had found a location for a new shop and asked if I would like to move to help them set it up. So I packed up my life and hit the road to begin a new chapter. And luckily, I didn't have to travel too far. That road led me to the beautiful Myall Lakes. My home for well over 20 years, the Myall Lakes boasts the best of all worlds and is without a doubt the most beautiful electorate in all of New South Wales. We are blessed with pristine beaches such as 1 Mile and Lizzie Beach, the crystal clear Wallace Lake, and the mighty Manning River. Dolphins frolic daily in all our waterways, teasing drivers making their daily commute over the bridge. In fact, our waterways are so fantastic, a 13-metre southern right whale came for an extended holiday in Wallace Lake in June 2021 and almost brought the entire town to a standstill for a glimpse of her majestic beauty. But the Myall Lakes is not just about boating and beaches. Rural hinterlands that stretch as far as the eye can see can be found in Wingham, Upper Lansdowne, Mount George, Murrell Creek and Bulahdelah, just to name a few. Tourism is extremely important to the electorate, but so too are our agriculture and primary industries. Not only do we have some of the best meat exporters and dairy farmers here, but we also have one of the biggest Sydney rock oyster nurseries in the state. So my friends, you can see, and I hear no objections in the house, that the Myall Lakes really does have it all. Like so many other places along our coastline, the Myall Lakes has had its fair share of disaster. The devastation of the Black Summer fires in 2019 and 2020, and the floods that saw homes float down the Manning River in 21 have certainly tested the strength and fortitude of our communities. But we are a strong bunch, and it is through this determined spirit that we see families and businesses finally starting to rebuild and regroup. On the back of Volunteer Week, it is here that I stop to acknowledge and thank our volunteers and emergency service workers who worked tirelessly day after day to help all of those affected by the fires and floods that tore through our communities, because you are the true heroes of our electorate. Now, as we look towards the majestic waters of the Great Lakes and the Farquhar Inlets, we must continue to confront the challenges that sedimentation and sand shoaling poses to our tourism and industries. The present state of the rivers is impacting greatly on all users and many businesses, and in particular, the iconic Amaroo dolphin and whale watching cruises, a long-standing family business, first established here in 1978. Skipper Matt has been unable to conduct his famous whale-watching cruises as the Amaroo cannot safely pass under the Foster-Tuncurry Bridge due to the build-up of sand. With another whale-watching season rapidly approaching, it is crucial that the Wallace Lake be prioritised for dredging, and I call on our new government to take positive action to rectify this situation. Just as the Wallace Lake faces its challenges, so too does the mighty Manning River, with the fight continuing to see the permanent opening of the river progress. Creating reliable entrances to the Manning has the potential to see great economic growth and positive social change in our region, and it was evident that the community is in full support when close to 14,000 signatures were gathered through a petition that was tabled on and debated on right here in this place last year. Given the positive outcome of this debate and the allocation of funding given by the previous coalition government, I was somewhat shocked to learn that the new government has pulled said funding and shelved the project. Opening the channel provides not only environmental and economic benefits, but it will also assist with flood mitigation. We have all seen firsthand the damage that floods can do in this area. It is critical that we install the infrastructure needed to protect our communities now and well into the future. And I take this opportunity to thank the Manning River Action Group for their continued advocacy in this project. It is not over yet. In the realm of public health, I am unwavering in my determination to see the completion of the Foster Public Hospital and the Stage 2 and Stage 3 redevelopment of the Manning Base Hospital. Cardiac is the #1 cause of death in the Myall Lakes electorate, and with the oldest demographic in New South Wales, we need to continue to invest in healthcare needs of our growing communities. But my drive for better healthcare extends beyond the walls of the Manning and Great Lakes. Am I keeping you up, Kermesh? Sorry, I'm joking.
Member for Coffs Harbour, come to order. No sleeping there. Member for Coffs Harbour shall behave himself. Okay, thank you, Member for
Sorry.
Tamworth.
Sorry. Sorry. Bulahdelah, our vibrant constituency, desperately needs an MPS facility. Up until 2012, Bulahdelah had a small hospital which included a 2-bed emergency department and 11 acute care beds. The acute care beds were also used for respite and palliative care as the need arose. The hospital closed due to the local doctor becoming ill and a replacement doctor could not be found. At present, residents of Bulahdelah have to travel a minimum of 74.8 kilometres for medical assistance, often for relatively simple procedures such as sutures. In May last year, Anglicare closed the doors of the only aged care facility, Cedar Wharf Lodge. 32 residents of the Cedar Wharf Lodge were rehomed many kilometres from family and friends. And with quite a few partners either being unable to drive or on restricted licences, visiting loved ones is problematic. Tragically, many residents died in the first few weeks of being moved. This leaves the Bulahdelah community with very little way of healthcare and only home care for the elderly. 1/3 of the population is aged over 65. Many of the elderly residents are struggling on at home as the thought of leaving the area and their spouses and family is too much. I am committed to advocating for this cause, not only for the welfare of the Bulahdelah community at large, but because every person in New South Wales has the right to the best healthcare, regardless of their postcode or political preference. Yeah. Our roads are the arteries of our local economy and region. Road improvement and safety are not mere aspirations, but absolute necessities. And I applaud the support of the previous coalition government for their investment in the improvement of our road networks as they were faced with some of the toughest natural disasters across our great state, including the Myall Lakes. There is still a lot of recovery to be done, and I call on the new government to retain vital funding programs such as the Fixing Local and regional road programs implemented by the coalition government. Furthermore, our community deserves a second bridge in Foster. Stephen Bromhead has tirelessly advocated for this cause, presenting 10,000 plus signatures to this very chamber. His relentless efforts reflect the aspirations and demands of our community, not only for the duplication of the bridge, but for the upgrade of the Failford and Lakesway intersection and the reclass of the Lakesway. This reclass is not just a mere label. It represents the challenges and frustrations endured by our community on a daily basis. The burden of maintaining and improving the Lakesway falls heavily on the Mid-Coast Council, which already shoulders the responsibility of overseeing an extensive network of 3,500 kilometres of roads. It's time to reinvigorate the efforts of this reclassification to ensure that our constituents' needs are met and their road safety is guaranteed. Now, it may appear from my earlier discussions that I come to this place with the sole experience of a fast food cook. However, I have in my short 44 years managed a small business, worked as a property manager, a legal secretary and an electorate officer, and I was also a mum to 5 beautiful daughters. I bring with me a raft of lived experiences, some of which have changed the very fabric of who I am, including domestic violence and losing my younger brother to suicide in 2015. In recent years, there has been growing recognition of the importance of mental health, and just as we heard last night from the member for Davidson in his wonderful maiden speech, there needs to be an increased focus on destigmatising mental health issues. I will forever be an advocate for having those conversations, and I thank my parents for allowing me to share our story so that others may not feel the void we feel with Michael's absence. Some might say these next 4 years will be a challenge, and to that I say, I'm here for it. Premier Minns, I say to you today, graciously and with all due respect, please do not forget about the people of regional New South Wales. I implore you, Premier Minns, to keep the needs of regional New South Wales at the forefront of your agenda. Don't forget about our regional seniors and our regional apprentice and university student travel cards for those that don't have access to public transport services. Don't forget about the active and creative kids vouchers and back to school initiatives that have eased the burden on our local families facing a very real cost of living crisis. Because while our cities may be the bustling hubs of economic activity and stadiums soon to be full of avid Bon Jovi fans just living on a prayer, it is the regional areas that the heartbeat of our state truly resides. Mr. Speaker, it is a tremendous honour to represent the good people of the Myall Lakes in the New South Wales State Parliament, and a responsibility that I don't take lightly. Over the next 4 years and beyond, I will wholeheartedly dedicate myself to demonstrating to my constituents that their trust in me is not misplaced. I will serve my community with the passion and drive they deserve, and I will always fight to ensure they receive their fair share. I thank the Chamber for the courtesy and attention afforded to me today. Thank you.